Okay, now this is officially part one, and we're actually going to talk about Deku this time. I know the second part was part zero. Also, thank you. Crushing it. Got 5 likes. Wow. You guys must like my videos or something. I know it's crazy. But I'm not going to talk about a like goal. Let's see where I feel like at the end of this. Okay, starting off. Deku is now, I'm gonna age him up a little bit. Let's say if he was 4 when he got his quirk and his dad was training him with his firepower, then let's say now he's 5. Deku has spent a year on his firepower and he's mastered it to the best of his ability as of yet. Also, Deku will not have the ability to use lightning yet. If I do use Deku getting one for all, then I may give him lightning if I feel like it. But, you know, until then, we got a long way till then. Well, not that long, but okay. So I'm gonna limit Deku. Deku can use all of the abilities on screen. He can use fire and earth, water, and wind. Right now, I'm gonna say Deku can only use fire and wind because he can't just be beating the living Jesus out of everybody he fights like every time. And also, I want to make him stronger for a specific reason, but it's gonna be clear later on. So Deku can only use fire and wind right now. So this time, Storm takes a year. Well, not really a year, but she just attempts to train him. She takes her time training Deku on how to use his wind because that's the one that he can use like his fire. His fire kind of awoken, but he can always use his wind. So his mother teaches him how to fly and how to use wind, like how to use the wind blades that she used to escape her prison at UA. How to condense the wind and also how to make storms. Because Deku cannot use lightning. I repeat, he cannot use lightning. But he can, however, make storm clouds. And storm clouds just so happen to make lightning. So it won't be like a targeted attack. It'll kind of be like an AoE. Like a kind of, oh, this may or may not hit you. It's fine, you know. Anyway, moving on. Deku trains with his mother how to fly. And the first time Deku learns how to fly, it is by him literally being thrown off a cliff. And I know you might be like, whoa, how did we get here? Well, Storm, if you haven't actually seen Storm like any of the animated series or the movies, she's really serious about training whenever she is a teacher. She will get tired of you really fast and will just be like, okay, this is your last shot. Get it done or leave. And it's that serious. But so she takes Deku, and because Deku being afraid of heights normally, as any child would, if you can't just, expect a child to jump out of an airplane 6,000 feet in the air. No. You can't expect anyone to do that, but definitely not a child. So Deku asked his mom, Mom, what's going on? And she says, I'm going to show you how to fly. And in order to show you, I want to teach by example. So here's what we're going to do. I want you to just face me. And I want you to look at me and concentrate on me. And close your eyes. And after this, she proceeds to push him off the cliff. And you might be thinking, well, God, she just threw him off the cliff? Yeah, but after she threw him off the cliff, Deku didn't notice, but he was listening to her. And the reason he didn't notice that he was being taken and thrown off the cliff is because the air around him simply folded into like this blanket on his back. And he didn't actually know that he was floating. If he didn't actually know that he was floating, he just thought he was still standing on solid ground. Now, from Storm's perspective, when she flew out, Deku was literally stepping vertically on the edge of the cliff. He was hanging by his feet straight up. And Storm was confuzzled because she did not know what this was. Storm has the power to fly, of course, like her powers suggest, but she's never actually seen that. Deku has the power to fly. Like, he has his own magnetic field that circulates around him, and the air kind of obeys that magnetic field. So that's how he can fly. Storm uses her ability to control the wind to put the wind under her so that she can fly. But he actually flies. And she was surprised by this. So next she teaches him wind blades. And it's pretty easy for Deku to pick up. He can use really strong wind blades or really weak wind blades. He can also curve them, control them in midair. And also, if he wanted to, he could basically like take the air out of the atmosphere or make an air sphere around himself to divert damage or stop himself from being attacked. So now that we've covered Deku's two powers for the most part right now, let's move on. Deku is now going to his high school. And I didn't mention this, but Deku actually met Bakugo in this story, but I didn't want to say anything because it didn't feel like it was important. Basically, Bakugo and Deku, Bakugo was always jealous of Deku. Like, Deku, everyone thinks Deku has a quirk, but he actually is a mutant. Well, you know, if I said he had a quirk before, he doesn't. He doesn't actually have a quirk. He just has. He's a mutant, but everyone thinks it's a quirk, so they're wondering if quirks are not gonna start evolving because he has 4. Like, everyone knows he has 4 quirks. He just can't use all 4 of them yet. So everyone's asking questions. Everyone treats Deku like a celebrity. And since his father is one of the top 10 heroes, replacing Best Genius, I think is 3rd, so his dad's gonna be 3rd. So everyone expects so much from Deku, and everyone treats Deku like he's royalty. And Bakugo always hated this. He always hated this because Deku got special treatment. And he didn't like that. He thought that Deku had a handout in life, and he didn't get one because they're quirks. Well, to what he thought were quirks. But Bakugo didn't notice that Deku never really held any malice towards him. He knew perfectly well that he was fortunate and he was very favored. But it was just what happened to him, not his fault. But anyway, they have fought a few times. Deku was never bullied in this one. Like I said, Deku was taught how to use his quirks. He can defend himself really well. Everyone immediately assumed he was going to go to UA. He was going to go real far. He was going to be the #1 hero. And they were right. Well, maybe, if we get that far. But basically, Deku is now going to UA. So Storm actually has to leave because Storm said she was going to stay for 3, she was going to be off the team for 3 years, but she ended up staying if we count when she was 5. If we count when she was 5, then that would be quick maths. That would be, let's say he's 15. That'd be, yeah, wait. That'd be 10 years. She's 7 years late. So, sorry about that. I just couldn't think of numbers for a second. Oh my gosh. Need to go back to 2nd grade. Anyway, she's 7 years late. So she tells Sasaki that she has to go. Or at least she has to tell the X-Men what's wrong. Because the X-Men this entire time have been thinking Storm was captured. They immediately think, oh no, Storm's been caught by somebody. We need to find Storm. But they don't know that she was in Japan because she turned off her locator, her tracker, everything. There's no way for them to contact her. She doesn't know they're looking for her. And also, they don't know that she's not captured. So she has to leave, and she goes to find the X-Men, going off and doing her own thing. You know, she kind of separates off from Deku. Also, Hisashi is actually the #3 hero, but he actually doesn't like to stay that much in Japan, so he travels around a lot because this is like the Marvel universe. So he's the number one or number three hero everywhere. He's the national third hero. And you might be like, well, what about Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, all of them? Well, they are, but that's only in Japan. He is the number three hero. Like in all of Japan, he is the number three hero. In all of China, like, another superhero might be the top three. So he leaves a lot and saves people a lot. So Deku's by himself. Deku actually doesn't take the UA exam because everyone knows who he is. And everyone who's in Class 1A is in Class 1A. And we get to our very first interaction. Deku doesn't even have to take the exam. And you're wondering, well, why? Deku basically passes instantly because he uses his quirk to use wind and flies the ball into the atmosphere. Oh, and you're wondering, you didn't cover the robots. Well, Deku has the ability to fly, and he can shoot fireballs the size of, mountain peaks. So he easily destroys multiple robots. He outclasses everyone. He could just make a tornado and send them all flying in different directions outside of the fake city and destroy them. Or he could just incinerate the entire ground and melt all the robots to nothingness. So yeah, he wins. Anyway, Deku just sends the ball floating into the atmosphere. That's how he wins that. Deku, or Izuku as he's called. Actually, no, I want to give him a hero name. His hero name is... Wait a minute. Should I give him a hero name right now? I can't think of it. I'll do it later. I'm lazy. Anyway. Deku... For right now, I'm calling him Deku. Deku basically just passes all of his tests. And Class 1A doesn't really do anything. The sports festival is the only real major important event. The only thing is Todoroki respects Deku. He respects Deku enough for him and Todoroki to get along. They're friends in this. And Bakugo hates both of them. He hates both of them equally as much as possible. So they hate them. Bakugo hates them too, right? So as he continues through the school, of course, nothing important happens until we really get to the sports festival where all the juicy stuff happens. So we're just gonna skip to there. Sorry for moving a little slow. I don't have a script. I like not having a script because it means that new ideas pop into my head. And when I have new ideas, I can make the story spicier and better. So, I don't have a script. Yeah. Anyway, he goes on to the sports festival. Now, the sports festival is a very entertaining event because Deku... I changed the sports festival a little bit. It's a 2v2 tournament. So, the top contenders are basically Bakugo and Kirishima versus Todoroki and Deku. And everyone expects Deku and Todoroki to win because they're literally the sons of, the number 2 and number 3 hero. They are, definitely gonna win. But Bakugo plans to change that. So, everything else goes normal except, add a Class 1A member to whatever solo fight, whatever 1v1 fights there were, and everything just goes the same. Whoever actually won, give that team the win. That'll just be background stuff. The most important, the juicy, the spicy, alright? The spicy stuff is when Kirishima and Bakugo 2v2 Deku and Todoroki. Now, the first interaction that happens is actually the funniest. Deku immediately tells Bakugo that Bakugo doesn't stand a chance. Not a sliver of a chance. He is going to absolutely crush him, and that will be that. Bakugo immediately, before the ref even says start, goes off towards Deku with the intent to murder him. He is not holding back. And you might seem, well, like, why is the intent to murder there? You know, they barely know each other. Well, no, they do know each other. They've known each other for a long time. And Bakugo's never been able to quite reach Deku, so he's always struggled with that. It's never been resolvable for him because it's like, it's unrealistic to say he could just beat Deku. That's not how it works. So Deku immediately dodges. He just stays on the ground and dodges. Bakugo comes back for another kick. He comes back for a roundhouse. And Deku ducks it, trips his leg, and pushes him down on the ground. Deku, standing above him, extends a hand and says, "Do you want to get up?" And Bakugo slaps it away with an explosion, hitting Deku right point blank. Deku, just being able to shield himself with his win, is told by Todoroki to not take it easy on him so he can win. Deku immediately goes to the sky and uses his fire and puts it over his hands and charges one up. He's shooting fireballs at Bakugo, keeping him on his toes, and dives close in at blinding speeds. He's probably the fastest flying character in the entire story. Super fast. He goes deep in. Whoa, wait a minute. Anyway, he gets close to Bakugo and kicks him in the face with a flip kick. Lands it and punches him in the stomach with his fire fist, which he charged up, which sent Bakugo flying out of the ring. And before Bakugo hits the ground, he uses an explosion, and Deku's already in his face and punches him to the ground. Todoroki doesn't even give Kirishima the time of day. He uses his fire and throws fire on Kirishima relentlessly. Kirishima tries to harden, but knows that he's already lost, because if you didn't know, rocks can take heat, but they also absorb the heat. They're like metal, they're conductors of heat. So the longer he stays on the fire, the hotter his skin is gonna get. And the hardened stuff is his skin. It's like a rock, but it's his skin. So if his skin is hot, the moment he unhardens, he's gonna burn himself by his own skin. Like, his skin will be so hot it'll be molten. Like, imagine having that on your body. That would hurt. So he immediately jumps back out of the ring, not wanting to have to face that possibility. They win. It is a pretty satisfying victory. I know this seems kind of unorthodox, this video. I mean, it was kind of unorthodox, but it's fine. Anyway, I didn't want to deprive y'all, so I just wanted to give you the video anyway. Even though I normally don't do second videos that much. Well, not that much, but that fast. Most of the time I have to wait a little bit so that I can think of a new idea. But I immediately had one. So, let's see. Has this been going on for long? Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. Let's continue just a little bit further. Basically, Deku is OP. Essentially. He's OP. Right? We all understand this. We all know this. So, I know I said that this was going to be the juicy part. And it was. It revealed a lot. But. The most juiciest part can't come really until we get to the USJR. And you might be like, wait. Agent, you said this was going to be the juiciest part. And it is. It's juicy. Very spicy. Very juicy. Very succulent. But it's not as good as it could have been because of a slight fact.